Now, I'm going to ask you guys a question for the moms out there. Talk about the importance of, getting fit or the training that goes in, when somebody gets pregnant before and then postpartum. Can you talk about some tips or how HLS comes into play with helping people with that journey as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, one of my friends slash clients had her baby like 2 weeks ago, and this is her second one at 41. And we trained all the way through the first and the second one. One of the main things I would advise is that you start working out before. That makes the biggest difference in your post is to work out not as hard as you can, but as smart as you can before you decide to take the journey to have a child, whether you decide to do in vitro or get a donor or you and your husband do it the good old fashioned way. You just want your body to be prepared physically on the inside and the outside. You want to feel good about yourself and that energy that you get from feeling the confidence that you're going to move forward in this journey. So that's a big thing is if you haven't started before you're pregnant, you really can't do as much while you're pregnant. You have to wait. Most of the times the doctor will tell you have to do what you were already doing. So that's my advice for those who know they're going to. And then the post, we actually are we're going to have a program specifically for that. But you do have to know, like, what happens. You have to give yourself some grace. You got to let yourself heal. You got to, take some time with your child. Like, don't rush to the snap back aesthetic thing because that's not real. Everybody's body does something different. Everybody has different genetics, and you might want to do it again. Like you run into a snapback, but you might make 2, 3, 4, 5 more babies. Maybe not 5, but you might make some more babies. So you got to give yourself some grace, and then we will be there as support to take a real look. I mean, I'll really look at the stomach, like, hey. Do you have diastasis? Do you have things that, hey, maybe you need to see a physical therapist before you jump into a program? So and don't be disillusioned by it. If I just wear this waist trainer, it's going to be what I wanted the snapback to be.
What about plastic surgery?
You can speak on that, Mom. You want to
Plastic surgery, I mean, it's the same. Like you can get plastic surgery all you want to, but you have to actually train your muscles. Like you have to train for good posture. Let's say you get some big old boobs because that's what you wanted your whole life, but you never worked your back. So you look like this. You're just hunched over. And it's sad, like, like I make a joke of it, but people want what they want, and you should absolutely have what you want, especially if you work hard for it. But you have to respect that your body has its own needs before you go and enhance it. That's not going to fix the problems that are already, or I'm sorry, it's not going to fix what is already lacking. Not necessarily a problem, but it could surface as a problem later on, whether that is postural or the fact that your hormones were already out of whack and then you decided to put something synthetic in your body. Like it's really important to get professional advice, like medical advice. And it's really important to establish a routine that fuels you more than from a physical and aesthetic standpoint. Because if you don't have those values, then I've seen it a number of times where women just, or where people, I'm sorry, just want to continue to get more work done. And it's like, well, there's a whole nother thing to address here if that's the case.
Right. And also because of the health aspect of it, like as you take, let's just say you decide you want to take the fat out, the fat around your heart is still there. Like your arteries are still clogged. You can still have diabetes. And then you haven't making the changes to sustain whatever the cosmetic changes you've done. So then it comes back and you still end up needing training or you still need something else. And like Monica said, and then mentally, if you didn't do the mental work before you did those changes, you don't really know. You make the cosmetic change, and then it doesn't even look the way you imagined yourself in your mind because you didn't do the work in your mind in the first place.
And it looks different. And a lot of people, it's hard, especially with like liposuction and stuff like that. It's hard, and people are getting robbed out here.
And you're gonna need it again.
But yeah, do the mental work, but also it's really, really important to have those conversations and continue to invest in learning for yourself what it is that you need. Because again, like the things that you think that you want to see, the ones that are the real root of issues that you have will surface once you make those changes. And then there's a lot to unpack there.
Yes. And check your circle. If your whole circle's doing it, are you doing it because your circle's doing it, or are you doing it because you really want that?
Yeah, I mean, if their opinions were painful to you before you got the work done, child, you gotta be prepared.
Be prepared.
Be prepared. I mean, the big thing also with the pre and postpartum. So I actually saw a post the other day of someone making suggestions of modifications through pregnancy, and it was very generalized. It's really important to actually speak to a professional directly. Do not just go through Instagram advice of what you should do first, second, third trimester, because it changes for everyone. And once you get deeper into pregnancy, it's very important to know which movement patterns you really should not be doing and how you can make an adjustment. But that needs to be personalized. It has to be.
Yeah.
So, be careful with that. And just the big thing is, like, we wanted to see mothers have their own community, because again, the consumption of what's going on online, and you're watching women who either have been training their entire lives as professional athletes snap back, or you're watching women who have never had children do physical things, and you're carrying a life. It's important to have a community that understands. So that's why we have the collective. That's why we have mothers in the collective. That's why we support anyone in whatever realm, whether they're trying, going through infertility and going through fertility treatments. Like, we want that support.
Mm-hmm.